Is the mystery of how to get men to chase you becoming exhausting? Do you wish you knew exactly how men thought so you knew how to trigger his hot pursuit of you the same way you see them doing for other women? Well, on today's show, we're going to discuss how to use ego to get a man chasing after you so that you can utilize this unstoppable force to not only get him to chase you, but to do anything you want. And the best part is you won't even have to lift a finger to do it. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome to all of you beautiful people here today and some of you newbies who might be new here, okay? Of course, we got Missy America holding down the YouTube chat. I see you guys have lots of discussion in the YouTube chat before I get on. I know I'm usually late. So also we got Ivy, one of our amazing channel members in the YouTube chat as well. I see we got Special K. I see Organic here. Melissa, we got Ashley. Lots more over in the YouTube chat and in the TikTok chat. Of course, we got SH holding us down there. Who else we got? I see we got a Haley, we got a Nisha, we got a Miley, we got Mauna, we got lots and tons of people here today. So I welcome all of you beautiful peeps, and I'm so glad to have you a part of the show. Okay, let's get started. Along the way, we shall discuss. Don't fret, and as we discuss, we'll get more familiar with each other. Okay, so let's start off with the male gaze. Okay, I really need you guys to be paying attention this episode. Some of the stuff I'm going to say is not going to make a lot of sense to you because we're really going to be focusing on how to trigger men, essentially. All right. And so a lot of the things I say, it's not going to make sense why it would trigger men because you're not a man, but that's okay. I'm here to help bridge the gap for you and give you a little bit more understanding. And hopefully you'll have at least a little bit of knowledge by the time we finish this episode. Okay. So don't fret if you're like, why do men think like that? That makes no sense. It's okay. It's not meant to make perfect sense to you. So we're going to start off with the male gaze. Now, I know for those of you who are not familiar with the male gaze, I'll just break this down in simplest terms and then we'll discuss more. The male gaze is essentially just the aspect of how in film and media, women are portrayed from the perspective of a man. So if, for example, if I'm dressing Margot Robbie for a scene, Margot Robbie's an actor, for those of you who don't know. If I'm dressing Margot Robbie or, Angelina Jolie for a scene in a movie, and I'm dressing her through the male gaze, I'm going to dress her in a way that is most attractive to the male gaze, right? To the man. So when a man's watching, he's going to say, wow, Angelina Jolie looks so good. She looks so awesome. She looks so amazing in this movie, right? She looks so stunning. She's so attractive in this movie. So I'm going to dress her in a particular way that accentuates particular features that would be most attractive to the men. That's essentially the male gaze. And because a lot of men mostly are the ones writing and creating movies and, control media, a lot of how women are portrayed in the media is through the male gaze. Now, I'm not here to tell you whether that's right or wrong or what the right way to live your life is, okay? I'm just here to explain to you the male gaze. Now, what also people don't consider when they're thinking about the male gaze, because a lot of times we just think about how men view the women and what lens they're viewing the women through, right? Now, also what inherently comes with that when we're talking about the male gaze is the recognition that men have. This is where it gets interesting, is the recognition that men have not only of the women, but the recognition that men have of other men. Realizing that they're also interested in that woman, and that does something to men. Now, this is very good. We're gonna go really deep into the woods here. So some of the stuff we're gonna discuss, you're gonna be like, how does this relate to anything? Trust me, it's all related, and we can all make it work for you positively. The men are not just seeing the women on their own in a vacuum. They're also seeing the other men see the woman. And there's something to be said for what that does to a man, to not only see you and like you, but to also see you and understand that while he likes you, there's also other guys who like you too. And that does something to his mind and his psyche and his feelings towards you. Remember, in yesterday's show where we discussed perception and we discussed value, I discussed with you guys how much of value is placed on perception and how you can literally manipulate perception to get someone to see you as more or less valuable. Okay. Nate says this is definitely pre-recorded. It's absolutely not pre-recorded. I can see your message. I can see everyone's message in the chat. Okay. So this is really me. I'm really here, not an AI, or maybe I am. Okay. So, right. I say that to say, I want us to understand how the male gaze is working, not just from a function of, men with their eyes popping out, looking at a woman in a sundress. Okay. But I also want you to understand, even on a subconscious level, men are recognizing the fact that other women are also gazing at the woman, and how that serves or affects his ego in the understanding that not only do I like her, but a lot of other people like her also. So then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of the reason I like her is because she's valuable, and she's valuable. I know that she's actually valuable because everyone else also likes her. This is how groupthink plays a role in the perception, your perceived value. Okay, because as guys like you and are interested in you, that's great. But what even becomes more powerful is when you trigger the confirmation of their perception of your value by showing them, whether directly or indirectly, that other people also see you as valuable. Because now they don't want to be the person that goes against the grain. They want to see what everyone else is also seeing in you. And so a girl is hot through the female gaze, right? Sorry, no, I said that wrong. A woman is hot through the male gaze, but a woman is made even hotter through the male gaze when he recognizes that other men also find her hot. Is that making sense? I know you're probably going to be like, what? That doesn't really sound like those are straight men. They are, okay? But I just want you to understand how ego plays such a intense, real role in men's perception of women, and how men play a part in that ego, that you can actually utilize all of those aspects to your advantage to trigger these responses from men that they don't really have any control over. Okay? Groupthink is not something you can really control. Your natural instinct to want to believe in or see what everyone else is seeing is not something you can control. Now, you can try to fight against it, and you can try to say, okay, I'm going to try and analyze other aspects and go against the grain. But your natural instinct, we're what we call a pack species, or I don't know what the scientific term is, but we evolved to agree, deal with each other, work together. Okay. And so naturally, we want to believe in what everyone else is believing. It's not natural to us to want to not see what everyone else is seeing. And so it rears itself also in our relationships, where if someone is viewed as beautiful or attractive and everyone wants that person, we're naturally going to be inclined to try to see things through their lens, even if we don't necessarily really feel that or see that. So I just say that to say it's the same thing happening through the male gaze, and also with the men gazing at you that are not just the guy that you're specifically wanting to be with. Okay. So let's get that down. Now, secondly, so now that we've talked about the male gaze and we talk about just a general aspect of how the male gaze can also be affected by the men and how the men see you, let's talk about competition. Okay, so this is where it's going to get interesting. Number 2 is competition. And I want you to understand, this is not to make you, I want us to be clear. Throughout this conversation we're going to have, I'm going to be discussing you as if you are something to be won, or it's going to feel very like an objectification. I need you to understand, I'm not objectifying you because you are actually an object. I just need you to understand the concept so you can understand why men are responding in particular ways. Okay? Let's all be on the same page. Now, when I'm talking about competition, you have to understand that natural to men, they always want to feel like they're the best, okay? Or at the very least, that they're better than the next man, okay? It feeds their ego. It boosts their self-esteem to feel like I am better than the next man. So inherently, there is a subconscious competition between men for who can prove to be the most powerful, amazing, mighty man in all of the land. I know it sounds very caveman-ish, and even though we don't live in caveman days anymore, the mentality still exists. It's just matured itself and changed and morphed itself into the lives that we live now. Okay? And so men are still fighting for that respect, right? Men are still fighting for that realization to be able to say to themselves, I know I'm better than you other peasant men. I step on you with my shoe. And you know I'm better than you other peasant men because of all the resources I have at my disposal, right? And so the recognition that I receive from being better than you and you knowing that I'm better than you concede you're a peasant underneath my feet. I shall squash you because I am the most mighty king in all of the land. Okay? Men still exist with that ego inside them. And so the reason I discuss competition as it relates to you and your relationships is because men are not just competing for resources in terms of money, a bigger house, a faster car, but they're also competing for the most, what they would consider the most valuable women. Okay? Like I said before, this is not meant to objectify you. I just need you to understand these concepts because they're very important to understanding how to trigger men into chasing and pursuing after you. So if men are also in competition for the most valuable women, right? Meaning the women who have all the qualities, not just the beauty, not just the dump truck, not just the yitties, but the personality, the aura, the energy, the confidence, right? The best of the best women. Let's just think of it like that. If those are what's considered the most valuable women, and we've already talked about how value is really based on perception, okay? Then you should get the understanding that the men will compete more for you if their perception of you is that you're more valuable. And so there are particular ways to create the perception as if you're very valuable. Not to say that you're not, but I do want you to understand people are constantly, specifically men, are constantly receiving you. In all aspects. They're receiving how you look, they're receiving how you talk, they're receiving how you carry yourself, they're receiving where you hang out, where you spend time, how you approach. They're receiving all of you all the time. And so that is creating their perception of you. And so even as it relates to competition, you can trigger the competition effect that is natural within men amongst other men to compete for the most valuable resources and the most valuable women by making yourself and presenting yourself as one of those really valuable women. So then you kind of have to take your mind. This is where you come in, okay? Now that you understand that, you have to take your mind away from trying to be the most likable woman, and you have to train your mind into putting yourself in the man's thoughts and how he would see someone who would be valuable, and really think to yourself, what makes something valuable through perception? Okay? And start thinking of, I know this sounds very transactional, but start thinking of attraction and desire kind of like you would a business. Because a business is all about supply and demand. The more supply, right, and the less demand, you're not really going to have what's considered a very valuable product, okay? You're not a product. I just need you to understand the concept. Vice versa, the less supply and the more demand, you're going to be considered a very valuable, sought after product, Okay, because everyone wants you, but nobody has you available to them. And so all the men are in competition for you and willing to do the absolute most for you in order to get you. Okay? This is the natural competition cycle that is created when you feel unattainable to men. It's the same reason why for their dream girl, they'll do anything. They'll post them up. They'll talk about them at length. They'll like their pictures. They'll repost their pictures. They'll comment on their photos. They'll whatever they got to do. They'll fantasize. They do all this stuff for their dream girl that they would never do for you. And you think to yourself, how come you're so invested and in love and obsessed with this dream girl of yours, but me, the real person in your real life who's literally crawling on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor, washing the dishes while I cook, while I use my third hand to wank you off, I'm doing everything you could possibly want in a woman, and you're not chasing after me or as obsessed with me as you are your favorite IG model, or as you are your favorite OF model, or as you are your favorite whatever model. Okay. And you're thinking to yourself, why are you not competing for me or pursuing me as hard as you compete for a woman who doesn't even recognize your existence? But I want you to understand the competition, right? The spirit of the competition can only be triggered by something he feels is slightly unattainable. You have to present yourself to men that you want to pursue you as if you are slightly unattainable, even a lot unattainable, because the more he has to do in order to feel like he has to get you, the more he'll do. The less he feels he has to do in order to get you, the less he'll do. So the more unattainable you feel to him, the more he'll feel like it's necessary to put his best foot forward in order to get access to you, because there is a strong, intense competition for you, not just with him, but with all the other guys who recognize your value as well. And all the other guys that also recognize your value are also going to be putting their best foot forward. So men recognize, even if they're not looking at the men and being like, I'm attracted to the men, they recognize that their attraction to you also props up your value in their mind. And so because it props up your value in their mind, what do? They approach you as if you're even more valuable now. Why? Because your value has been confirmed, right, by the other men who also want you and are chasing after you. And so because of that competition effect begins to come into play, where he feels like he needs to win you over. He feels like he needs to put his best foot forward. He feels like he needs to do the best job. And so what happens when he feels the need to do his best job? Well, he pursues you. He treats you right. He tries to make adjustments. He tries to be the absolute best man he possibly can for you, because he knows if he's not the best man, he will lose his spot to someone else, another guy who is prepared to be that best man. Very simple kind of math and logic here. And so you never, ever, 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 ever want to present yourself as an attainable girl who is wishing to be liked by men. You want to present yourself as the dream girl who is unattainable, going about her life however you want to go about your life, not concerned with what those men think of you. Because that's what's going to trigger in him, everyone wants her and she's very unattainable. This is a lot like a dream girl. I'm going to approach her the same way I would my dream girl. See, and the weirdest, strangest part is the more available you are to men, the less you can be like a dream girl. Okay? Am I making sense to you guys so far? Right? Some number says, she says, but I might actually be unattainable. See, that is the most crazy, insane part about perception. is that you might have the most voluptuous yitties. You might have the biggest dump truck. You might have the most beautiful smile and the smallest waist. You might have the most bubbly, amazing personality. But if you are not strategic with how you present yourself to men, you're going to diminish your value in their eyes, even if you have a lot of value, truthfully, right? This is why I always tell you guys, it's not about how you look. It's not about your dump truck. It's not about none of that. It's about how strategic you can be about the way you present yourself and how you give access to you or take it away, and how much of it you give that allows him to keep being in pursuit of more of you and never in a position where he feels like he wants less of you. Okay? Now, some of the things when I talk about competition, some of the things that you guys are doing wrong when it comes to competition or making him feel like there's competition for you is you're making yourself readily available to him 24/7. I know that when you like a guy and you're really interested in a guy, you do want to spend all your time with that guy. Okay? I'm not saying you're a bad person because you want to spend all the time that you have free with the guy that you really like. Okay? That's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do want you to understand that if you're spending, let's just say hypothetically, you spend 24 hours a day with the guy 7 days a week and you guys never get a break from each other. Okay? I do need you to understand, while that might feel good because you're getting to spend time with the guy that you like and you love being so closely attached to the guy that you're into, you have to understand that there is only one place to go from spending 24 hours a day with you 7 days a week. He cannot put himself in a mind frame where he wants to see more of you. Why? Because it's literally physically impossible. It is physically impossible for him to see you more than 24/7. And so what are the only thoughts he can have if he's already seeing you 24/7? I want to see you less. I want to spend less time with you. I want to be around you less. Why? Because he's already seeing you the more. There is no more. And so your job in terms of when we're talking about competition and we're talking about the supply versus demand, your job is to, in the process of dating guys and you identify the guys that you like and you want to increase their desire in you, your job is to find that perfect balance where he can enjoy some time with you, but it's never enough that it feels like he wants to see you less. You always want to leave him with the taste that I want more of you. I want to spend more time with you. I want to spend more time around you. I want to go take you on more dates. I want to be around you. Like you want him to be the one saying, I need to be around you and be with you more. We need to take this to the next level. And the more scarce you are, you just chip off a little bit for him. You just chip off a little bit for him. Just chip off just a small little bit of access, little bit of this, little bit of that, here and there. And you just keep him in a constant state where he's like, it's not enough. Please, I need more, please. Okay? And you keep him where it's almost like he's aggravated that he can't get more of you. And he's frustrated that he can't get more of you, but it's such a good place for you to be in. And the thing about it is, the problem is a lot of you, when guys get in that state where they're frustrated, where they're like, I'm not getting enough of you. Give me more. I want to see you more. I want to take you out on more dates. See, you get a little bit anxious yourself because you start thinking to yourself, well, if I don't give you way more, you're going to get bored. If I don't give you way more, you're going to get uninterested. Or I want to ease your anxiety and ease your frustration by giving you more of myself like you're asking for. See, here's the thing about ego, okay, that I need you to understand. Men are also looking for you to make things easier on them by giving you more of yourself, that they cannot be in a state of anxious frustration, wanting more of you. Because that is like hard on the soul to be in like almost like a constant state of desperation. But the thing about it is, when they're in a constant state of desperation, that's when you're going to get the best version of them. right? In terms of how they treat you in the relationship. But when they're in a laid back state where they feel like they've got enough of you, they see enough of you, they don't need any more of you, they're kind of good on you, it's all right what you're doing, it's not too big of a deal, they're not super frustrated or need to have you more in their life, right? That's when you get a lazy man or a laid back man or a man who's not trying to jump out the window and do the absolute most for you. That's how you get those men that start off being the super amazing gentleman going around the world and back just for you. And then all of a sudden it starts to fall off a cliff because he gets comfortable, right? Not just in the relationship, but he gets comfortable and secure with his position in your life and in your mind. He gets comfortable with the amount of access he has to you. And so he doesn't feel the need to continuously put his best foot forward. This is why I say it's a balancing act, because you always want to be aware of how much access am I giving to you? And should I be scaling that back so you can continue desiring me even more? Right? And it's a balancing act because you don't want it to be so extreme and so little access that you give to him that he actually genuinely thinks you're uninterested in him, or you don't like him, or you don't want to spend time with him. It's that you give him just enough to meet the threshold of, okay, he knows that you're still interested or like him, but it's never enough for him to feel like he's actually getting you for real in the full sense. Okay? So competition is very important. Are we on the same page so far? I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Right? Missy America says I can suggest that to Thompson. Suggest what? What was it? Right? The face parlor, paint parlor says be a bad texter, but have amazing energy with them. That's actually a great point. That's a great point that the face paint parlor mentioned, right? One of the other ways when you're talking about availability, right? Because availability is what's going to make him feel like there's competition versus there's not a lot of competition. If you're very available, it's not going to feel like there's a lot of competition. If you're rarely available, it's going to feel like there's a lot of competition. So another one of those ways you can stimulate that is by not being a good texter. Sounds weird, sounds strange, but when you're not available over the phone, especially over text, 24/7, it's going to make it feel like you have a lot of time that is being spent doing other things. It's going to make you feel very unattainable and or unavailable. And it's good to trigger that competition in a man's mind that, hey, there's a lot of people who want you. There's a lot of people with eyes on you. There's a lot of people competing for your time. I must put my best foot forward in order to get access to you. And the way this affects his ego is exactly how we'll mention in the next one. Okay, so I mentioned the male gaze and I mentioned competition. So number 3, let's talk about the prize, or we can consider it the trophy. Okay, so when we're talking about the prize, I'm sure a lot of you have heard people say, I'm the prize, you're the prize, everyone's the prize, we're all the prize, we're the prize together. We hold hands and we sing prize by all, okay? Now, you can be the prize, like I always say, but you have to treat yourself like a prize. And so if you're embodying qualities of a highly sought after woman, right, then you yourself become the reward. And if you yourself are the reward, then men feel good about getting you and getting access to you. Because if there's competition for you, like I mentioned before, and if they know that all the other men are also paying attention to you and they want you as well, which is increasing your value in their mind, right? Then getting you becomes a reward in itself. Now, very important. You never really want guys to feel like they've totally and utterly won. You want them to be feeling like they're just out of reach of getting you, even in a relationship. And this is crazy. I know for some of you be like, this only works on men who you're not dating, or this only works on men who you're not interested in, or this doesn't work if you're in a long-term relationship. It does work. Because even when you're in a relationship with someone, they can still feel slightly unattainable to you. You can still feel like, I feel like I like you way more than you like me. Okay, that's the same feeling. It's the same idea. It's the same concept. Because as soon as they feel like, I feel like you don't like me as much as I like you, because I really like you and everyone else likes you, and I just feel like you don't really like me that much. What do I have to do to make you like me? Boom, you've triggered it right there. You've triggered it. You've triggered that ego hit where a man is feeling like you're a prized possession, but not feeling like he really has the prized possession. And he's just in a constant state of this like internal slight frustration where he's like, you're the prize, but I feel like I haven't won the prize yet. When am I going to win the prize, baby? Are you going to tell me when I'm going to win the prize? I feel like I just haven't won it yet. Should I do more? What do you want? You want your nails done? Your feet done? Which one you want? You want to go get your hair? I don't know. What more do I have to? I feel like I haven't won. I feel like you don't really like me. That's what I feel like. I feel like I feel like me and you were not really, you don't really like me anymore, right? And you can actually trigger that amount of insecurity in guys. Okay? Because the ego hit for guys is winning the prize. Okay? Like that's the ego boost. I've won the prize. I've gotten the prize. I got what all the other men were seeking for. All the other men are desperate to be with this woman who is so valuable, and they are peasants beneath my feet because I step on them and I show off the fact that I've won the prize that every other guy wants. Ha ha ha. I wank off in all your peasant faces, right? This is on a subconscious level what guys feel when they're chasing after the dream girl, or when they feel like they've gotten the dream girl. What do they think about it? Think about it. What does a guy immediately do when he's gotten a dream girl? He tells everyone how he got the dream girl and how he won the prize because he's proud of winning this prize. So if you don't present yourself as a prized possession or something to be won, I know it sounds like I'm objectifying you. I'm not. I just want you to understand the concept. But if you don't present yourself as a prize or something to be won, something to be attained, something that everyone wants, well then, how do you think he's going to perceive you and treat you as a prize then? He's not. He's going to treat you as someone who is mundane. He's going to treat you as someone who is regular or average. He's going to treat you as someone who is, he's indifferent to. I'll give you a news flash, okay? And this is on topic with what we're discussing, okay? I want to ask you guys a question, and I want you to be very, very honest with me. Everyone in the chat, be very honest with me right now, okay? I want to ask you a question. In your relationship, whether it be your current relationship or your most recent one, do you think that your man had a quote unquote celebrity crush that they would consider, is like, if I ever meet her, like, this is my hall pass, right? They had a celebrity crush where they felt like, if I meet her, you got to give me a hall pass because she is just absolutely, different, right? Let me know in the chat. I want you to be super honest with me. Don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. If your last relationship or the one you're currently in, he's got a celebrity crush where he's like, baby, if I ever see her, you got to let me go for it because she's just amazing, right? I see a lot of people saying yes. I see some people saying no. Someone said, tell me who it is, actually. For those of you who say yes, tell me who the celebrity crush is. I'm curious. I seen one person say Gal Gadot. I see one person say Jen Aniston, Gabrielle Union. Okay, I see Ice Spice, Megan Fox, Rihanna. Okay, Tiwa Savage, Mila Kunis, Ariana Grande, Halle Berry. Okay, Angelina Jolie, Nia Long. Wow. Cash Doll, Ira Star. Interesting. Thames. Okay, Jessica Alba. Sandra Bullock. It's never Kim Kardashian. I actually haven't seen one person say Kim Kardashian. Interesting. Cardi B, J-Lo, Ella May. Wow. Megan Good. Salma Hayek. Okay, interesting. Wow. Okay, so this is great. I'm very glad that I touched on this. Billie Eilish, that's an interesting one. I'm very glad I touched on this. See, here's the thing. I don't want to burst your bubble and make you feel like garbage, okay? This is going to sound really strange. Those women that you just mentioned, as amazing and awesome as they are, they're all amazing and awesome. Those are still human beings. Okay? All of those human beings that you just mentioned, they take poops. Okay? They still have to eat food, right? They still breathe oxygen. Okay? They still take showers, at least some of them, unless they're really dirty. Most of them take showers. Okay? Right? They still have anxiety. They still feel sad some days. They're happy some days. They're frustrated some days. They have stress in their life. Okay? My point being is those are human beings. So I need you to understand, if you're in a relationship or have been in a relationship where your man feels like, yeah, you're cool, but if I ever met so-and-so, hey, you might have to take a back seat because this girl is it. She is the dream. She is the be all and end all that if I were to get her, wow, I know it's impossible. I know it would never happen, but she is like here. You're here, but like she's here. So babe, if me and her ever met or she asked me out on a date, you just gotta let me go because she is but she is. And what you're inherently acknowledging when you're in a relationship like that is that you are not the dream girl. I know that sounds painful. And I know that sounds a little bit shocking because you probably thought it was very innocent, but you're acknowledging to yourself and your relationship that you are not the dream girl. You are not the be all and end all. Whatever qualities you possess, whatever personality you have, whatever dump truck, whatever yiddies, whatever it is, you're here, but there is another person who is here. And I know some of you might be like, but that's a celebrity. She's an actor. She's a singer. She's a rapper. She's a model. She's a this. She's a that. No. She's a human being. And she's a woman. You are also a human being and you're a woman. If the person who is closest to you, committing their life to you, does not see you as the ultimate prize, then you have a problem. You have a problem. Because if he sees you here and he sees another version of women up here, what exists in this space between? Women that aren't the celebrity crush, but just are better than you? So then what happens then? What happens when he meets one of these in-between women? They're not quite the celebrity crush, but they are better than you. What happens? I'm actually asking. Because it's easy to imagine to yourself, oh, it's just the celebrity crush, and it's something so unrealistically out of reach and impossible to happen that it would never happen, which is why it doesn't even offend me, and which is why it doesn't even bother me. When in reality, the distance between you and the celebrity crush, you're not realizing that there's space in between that. And so while some women might not all be the celebrity crush, that is an acknowledgement that there are other women who he could come across that he would consider better than you, that he would consider a better opportunity than you, that he would consider a better prize than you. And then it becomes clear to you why your man that you're in a relationship is not treating you like he would treat his dream girl, because you're not. Why he's not pursuing you like he would pursue the girl he thought was the ultimate prize to him, because you're not. And you notice how every guy's dream girl is someone who he would basically never have a chance with, has either never spoken to or maybe rarely ever spoken to, and probably doesn't even have an acknowledgement of his existence. Which should tell, that in itself should tell you that a guy's attraction to a woman is not at all based on how attracted that woman is to him or how accessible that woman is to him. It's actually based on the opposite, on the contrary, right? His attraction to a woman and his desire for that woman is actually based on her lack of availability to him and the fact that she is not interested in him. Okay? Minako says it's based off of a fantasy. So then why can't you embody the fantasy? How come you can't be a fantasy that he barely has access to? I know it sounds really stupid and really dumb and just like a whole game, but I want you to just absorb the psychology behind that. And I want you to absorb the fact that you can embody a fantasy while still being real. It's like actually possible. Okay? The same way you fantasize about guys that you're barely actually with. He barely even talks to you, and he barely even acknowledges you. And even if he does talk to you, you're like thinking that he wants you more than he actually does, and you're putting yourself in a whole Delulu situation, when in reality it's not that, right? So you can fantasize about people that you're actually with. Okay, you can trigger that in men still. And the reason I brought that whole point up is because when we're talking about the prize, if you're going to be the ultimate prize, then you have to embody the ultimate prize. You can't see, the ultimate prize is not desperate. The ultimate prize is not needy. The ultimate prize, like we talked about, is not available. The ultimate prize is not seeking validation from him. Okay? I just have to be real with you. That's why she's the ultimate prize, because she's in high demand. There's lots of competition for her. Everyone wants her, and no one has access to her. So the reason I bring that up is because I want that what we just discussed to literally like stick in your mind and for you to never forget it. That way, as you go on into your relationships, you can be thinking about, I want to make sure I'm embodying a dream girl and not a regular, everyday, mundane girl. Because when I embody the dream girl, I will receive dream girl energy from him and dream girl pursuit from him. If I embody some mundane girl who gets used and disregarded of by every other man, well, rest assured that's exactly how he'll treat me. He'll treat me like trash. This is why I tried to make it so clear to you guys that value is based more on perception than it is on actual quality. And how if you can control that perception, well, then you can control his view of you and how he responds to you and approaches you. Right? Minako says dream girl energy equals magnetic energy, 100%, right? Rahil says, is this not childlike behavior? Well, when did we ever stop becoming children? We're all children at heart. We just grow into bigger bodies. But the things that affect us and get us to respond and trigger us to give a particular reactions and responses don't really change that much. Okay? They don't really change that much. The same way, if I could do this to a child and I could do this to an adult. If I were to have two items that were the exact same items, and I put one locked behind a golden box with a whole bunch of locks on it, right? And made it look really fancy and really important. And then I just put one on the table in front of you, and I asked you which one is more valuable, which one is more expensive, right? You would likely say the one sitting inside the box is more expensive and more valuable, even if they share the same price. The same way a child would assume. That's just based off of your perception of what is value. Value is something that is hard to get. Value is something that is scarce. Value is something that is not readily available to everyone. Okay? And when you can start thinking like that, you can start reminding yourself when you're getting ready to trauma dump on your date. When you're getting ready to tell him about how all your exes mistreated you and how all your exes, how you forgave all of them 30 times after they cheated on you 30 times. And it took you 3-4 years of being mistreated before he finally broke up with you and went on with a new girl. And that was your last relationship. Before you start trauma dumping to him about that, you can be thinking, when I tell him about all the guys that mistreated me, is that going to make me sound and look and feel like a dream girl? Or is that going to make me sound and look and feel like a girl who gets disregarded and thrown away and nobody values? Because like we talked about before, the male gaze is not just about how he views you directly or how beautiful he thinks you are directly. It's also about his recognition of how all the other men are viewing you as well. Very interesting, but it's very true. Okay? Right? Does that make sense to you guys? So we talked about the male gaze, then we talked about competition and the prize. Now, number 4, I want us to discuss challenges, okay? So obviously, if you're going to be rewarded with any sort of prize, right, unless you're getting a participation trophy, I don't believe in those. But for those of you who have gotten participation trophies or believe in that, aside from a participation trophy, if you're going to be rewarded for a prize, right, or a trophy, you're going to have to do work for that prize or trophy. So subsequently, you also, if you're going to embody a prize, if you think you're the prize, well, then that means inherently there has to be challenges that come with attaining you. And the reason I say that is because if there are not challenges, then men don't feel like they had to actually work in order to get you. See, the prize of getting you is an ego boost in itself. But you also have to understand you're confirming the fact that you're valuable to him while he's pursuing you by giving him challenges in order to get more access to you. So if it's too easy for him, he'll feel like there's a misalignment between his perceived value of you and the fact that it's very easy to get more access to you. Because in his mind, if your perceived value is very high, then access to you should be very challenging. Vice versa, if your perceived value is very low, then access to you will be not challenging whatsoever. He won't have to say much. He won't have to do much. He can just give you a couple of words and phrases and love bomb you and tell you how he wants to make you his wife. And you'll be so over the moon and so desperate for anyone to love you that there you go. Now you're at his feet on your hands and knees, ready to sniff his butthole and do absolutely anything he wants for him, and be a slave to him, not in a hot way. Okay? And that's the problem. When you aren't constantly trying to at least, I know it sounds toxic. Let's just call it toxic. If you want to call it toxic and you're like, that's toxic, cool, we call it toxic. If you want to call it manipulative, that's what you feel, okay, it's manipulative. At the end of the day, you'll get what you want. You can call it whatever you want though. So what I'm talking about though, you need to be aware of how much you're challenging men, especially in the beginning of your relationship, how much you're challenging them to get more access to you. And also how easy you're making it for them. Here is your problem. Here's your problem. When you don't like a guy very much, you make it very challenging for him to get access to you, which is why those men like you so much more. Because there's challenges associated with you, and it confirms all the thoughts he's had in his mind of how valuable you are. So everything is working how it's supposed to work. But when you do like a guy a lot, you are naturally inclined to make it easier for him to access you because you want him to access you because you like this guy. And so because you make it easy for him to access you, even if he thought you were valuable, as he begins to get more and more access to you so easily without putting in any work, your value diminishes in his eyes. And so what happens? He subsequently puts in less and less work into getting more access to you because he doesn't feel he needs to. He doesn't see the value in you. And so this is the tricky part in relationships, because it's not just about how guys treat you that you don't like or you're not interested in. It's about how you get the guys you're actually interested in to chase and pursue after you while you hold your water, relax, and receive. Okay? So that's why I'm breaking down this understanding for you so you can be thinking about that even when you like a guy, even when you're interested in a guy, even when you want this guy really badly, that you can be thinking, okay, I know I want you badly, but even more than that, I want you to want me badly. So I'm going to stay put. I'm not going to, do a whole dump. I'm not going to act out of character. I'm just going to stay the course, right? Do what I know is going to make you desire me the most and just keep it where it is. I'm not going to give you easy access to me. Even though it's painful for me to make it challenging for you because I want to make it easy for you, I'm still going to make it challenging for you. I'm still not going to make it easy on you. Right? Even though I like you. Nobody gets that easy. right? And I know that's painful and I know that's hard to do, but you'll be doing yourself a service in the long run, because then you'll have him in a position where he is constantly in hot pursuit of you, instead of being in a position where he's laid back, relaxed, and he doesn't care if you want to be with him or not, because it doesn't matter, because he's already got you. Right? Does that make sense? And so let me discuss some challenges, because I know some of you guys are like, okay, can you give me an example of a challenge and things like that? So an example of a challenge would be, so let's say you start dating a guy right away. And then as you're dating this guy, let's say in the first week, you go on, let's say 2 dates in that week. And so those 2 dates were planned, they were scheduled, all that good stuff. And then he says, actually next week I'm super busy, and I don't know if I'll be able to see you next week. Can I just see you tomorrow instead? Right? And he's texting you this, asking you this, can I just see you tomorrow? What's going to naturally happen is, if you went on those dates with that guy and you really like him and you really like where this is going, you're going to be like, oh, well, I really like you. I like how this is going. And yes, we went on 2 dates this week, but I love spending time with you. So yes, you can see me tomorrow. I'll clear my schedule, or I'll do whatever I need to do to be with you, because I want to make it easy on you to see me, and I want to build this intensity up real fast. What I want you to do instead is challenge him and say, no, actually, I'm not free tomorrow. I can't do things last minute. My only free day next week is, let's say, Friday. If you can't do that day, then you're going to have to wait till the week after. And you just leave it there. Then you put the onus and you challenge him to say, if you really want to see me that bad, you'll clear your schedule for next Friday and be available when I'm available, or you'll wait till next week and you'll schedule me for 2 weeks in advance, both of which are good. But see, you're almost like doing him a solid by making it so hard for him that the only way for him to continue getting access to you is by continuing to be intentional about you and the relationship. You see that? Says it's like you have boundaries, right? Yeah. A lot of times even boundaries can be a challenge, because natural, when you really like a guy, you want to throw away all the boundaries. You want to give him, go anywhere you want. Don't worry about any boundaries. Just do anything you want, say anything you want, do whatever you want. I like you a lot, so I'm going to let everything slide. But you see, when you make it challenging, and sometimes even when you set boundaries, that's a challenge in itself, where guys have to actually overcome those challenges in order to continue getting access to you. Because when you set it up like that, when you set up your relationships in a way where it's like, okay, well, if you want to see me, right, and you're saying you want to see me so badly, I'm free this day and I'm free that day. My schedule is not going to change or budge for anyone or anything. If you are in such deep desire for me, you can see me on this day or that day. If it's not that important to you, perfectly fine. I'll go do something else. But those are my free days, right? And you kind of leave things to the men to say to themselves, hey, I wasn't free that day, but I know I want to see you, so I'm going to get free that day. Okay? Even something as simple as that, as making him schedule his life around you and your availability instead of you scheduling your life around his availability and taking off shifts or taking off work so you can spend more time with him, right? That is a challenge in itself. Because the thing about it is, as he continues to have to overcome challenges to get more and more access to you and overcome more obstacles to get more access to you, he becomes increasingly invested in the end result of him actually getting you. And you become more important to him because of how much he's had to sacrifice to get you. I guarantee you, a guy who had to drive 6 hours to see you is probably going to treat you a little bit different than a guy who just sat at home. Meanwhile, you Uber to his place. Okay? Why? It's not because you're any less valuable to one guy or the other, but the amount of investment a man puts in you will also reflect how he treats you and how he goes about you. Because that investment, right, if you walk away from him, you take that investment with you. So if he invests a lot of time and energy and money into you and you walk away from him, or you're no longer interested in him, or you don't want to date him anymore, you're taking that time, energy, investment, and money sometimes with you. That's why guys become more attached to you when they're more invested in you that way. That's the same reason why someone like Shira is teaching you guys how to get men financially invested in you, because that's also an investment. It's just in a different way. But I like to focus on how to get men emotionally invested in you, right? It's the same idea and the same concept, is just going about it in a slightly different way, right? Because that investment is what makes it very painful for men to walk away from you. And it also is what holds them at bay, having them treat you the right way, where they don't want to do anything wrong that will have you walk away. Okay? Does that make sense so far? I know a lot of you guys love Shira, so that's why I mentioned that, right? When I said investment. So that the male gaze was number one. Number two, we talked about competition. Number three, the prize. Number four, challenges. Now, number five, I want us to discuss reflection. So after he feels like he's gotten you, or at least feels like he's gotten more access to you than all the other peasant men, okay? What's going to happen is, you have to understand that this is what happens to his ego. You as the prize, you as something who is valuable, you as someone who is a representation of the most valuable, unattainable woman in all the land. When he finally is able to at least say, this is my woman, what ends up happening is, yes, you're amazing. I'm acknowledging that you're amazing and you're awesome and you're all that good stuff. But he also, and even more importantly for the guy, he looks in the mirror, and the fact that he was able to attain you or obtain access to you becomes a reflection to him of himself. And this is really how the ego ties into everything. Because when you can make yourself actually be perceived as having value, and you can treat yourself like the prize and have him treat you like a prize, when he finally feels like he's getting more and more access to you, you become a self-reflection of his own view of his own self-esteem and how good or successful he is in life as a person. And the thing about it is, when you are the vessel through which a guy specifically can feed and boost his own ego, well, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to take very precious care of you, because without you, what happens? His ego is destroyed. If he gets access to the prize that everyone wants, and he gets to say, I'm with the girl that everyone wishes they could be with, and then you walk away from him, what happens to his view of himself? He no longer gets to validate himself and his ego through the expression of being with you. So there's a lot of pain associated with you not being with him, because he's began to use you as the embodiment of how important or successful he is as a man. He doesn't get to brag to the other men and say, look at all you peasants, I step on you with the bottom of my shoe, you scum. He doesn't get to say that like he's on the top of the mountain when he's not standing next to you anymore, because you represent his power, you represent his success, you represent his ability to brag to those other men. I know it sounds very not straight, but it is straight still. I just need you to understand how this plays a role in how men think. Okay? You become like his ability to brag. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying you should all be trophy wives or anything like that, but I just want you to understand there's nothing wrong with you becoming his ability to brag. Why? Because if you walk away from him, or he feels threatened that you might walk away from him, there's a lot of pain associated with that. There's a lot of pain associated with that, because you are the representation of why he gets to brag to the other men about the prize that he got. If you walk away from him, he no longer has that in his pocket to brag about. And so what happens to his self-esteem? What happens to his ego? It's crushed. And see, when you can attach yourself to a man's ego, because of what you represent, you're so much more powerful within his mind because of that. And you hold so much more weight And see, this is where everything we talk about comes into play, because now when you withdraw your energy, what does that do? It makes him feel threatened in the relationship. It makes him feel like you might walk away from him. It makes him feel like you don't want to be with him anymore. Let me just do this here. Right? And because it makes him feel like you don't want to be with him anymore because you're withdrawing your energy, now he's like, wait. You represent everything that makes me, me, and makes me amazing to everyone else. So you can't walk away from me. You seem to be withdrawing as if you're prepared to walk away. Please, let me know what I must do in order to fix this and adjust this, because no, if you walk away, this is not good for me, right? I know it sounds selfish, but I just need you to understand that inherently the best way for you to get a response you want out of just human beings in general, but specifically men, is to figure out how you serve that individual man in the ways you serve him. And when I say serve him, I mean just what do you do for him that is valuable to him, right? And affects him, because you know that when you walk away, those are the things you're taking with you. So if you represent this prize and this value that he then associates with his own self-reflection of himself and how he views himself, then you also know as soon as you withdraw that energy from him, he becomes threatened that, oh my God, I'm going to lose the thing that is making me so valuable to everyone else. I'm going to lose the thing that is inherently part of the reflection of who I am as a man. And what do you think is going to happen when you withdraw your energy and he's in that state? He's immediately going to want to think about how he can fix and adjust that, because he doesn't want to lose access to you. As opposed to you not being the prize or being some mundane, remember, you're underneath his dream girl. You're like, you're here, you're cool, but his dream girl's up here. When you're mundane like that, and you don't represent this prize or this extreme value that makes him feel like, oh, I got what everyone else wanted, well, then when you withdraw your energy and he feels like you're disinterested or you might walk away, nothing happens, because he doesn't feel threatened with the fact that, hey, I'm going to lose the thing that is representing my value as a man. Because when you're valuable and you're with me, then I inherently feel like I'm valuable because you chose me. Because all the guys also wanted you, but if you chose me, that must mean I'm more valuable than all the other guys. Right? Does that make sense? Someone says, can you repeat this? I just joined. I'm going live also on my YouTube. So if you want to rewatch all the points that I just made, you can go on there on my YouTube. It's right above my head. Just type in my name on YouTube and you can rewind. It's literally available for you right now. I'm live right now on YouTube also. Okay. So does that make sense to you guys? Are we all on the same page so far? Do you guys have any questions about what we just discussed? Right? Someone says, but what if you hurt his ego and he dumps you? If you hurt his ego and he dumps you, well, then maybe he's just too insecure. I also want you guys to be very understanding that these methods that we talk about, like triggering a man's ego to get him to pursue you, these aren't going to work on men who are insecure. Okay. These also aren't going to work on men who are not prepared to do anything hard. Because like we mentioned with dating apps, there are a lot of men who are what we call in the Players Club, we call them microwave men. The reason we call them microwave men is because they want everything quick, easy, and painless. The same way you would put something in a microwave when you don't want to spend time cooking it and simmering it and doing all this extra stuff. You just pop it in the microwave. Those are microwave men. They exist a lot and they're very prevalent on dating apps, because the guys that go on dating apps are looking for something very quick, easy, and painless. Okay, which is why they hop on a dating app, because it's a lot easier to open up your phone and start typing messages and literally just taking your index finger and swiping left and right than it is to get dressed, brush your teeth, do your hair nice, get a haircut, look good, go out, have good chat, see some girls, be funny, be interesting, be charismatic, right? That's way harder than just taking your index finger and going left and going right. And so the microwave men, the men that are looking for the most quick and easy, painless thing as possible, they're going to find it very difficult, or they're not going to be happy when you have any sort of pushback that does not make it quick, easy, and painless for them. Okay? Those aren't the men you're trying to attract anyways. That's what I want you to realize. So the men that this doesn't work on because they're insecure or they just want it so quick, easy, and painless that they're not prepared to do anything hard, you don't want those men anyways. Those men are microwave men, and they're probably looking for you to chase after them because that would be the easiest version of a relationship for them. And I don't think any, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think any of you in this show, in this chat, want to be chasing after the men. I don't think that's why you're here. Okay? Right? Does that make sense? Vivian says, how can I make myself seem unattainable again after being too needy? Well, okay. The very simple answer, it's a lot more complicated than this in terms of like the details, but the simple answer is you have to withdraw. Okay? You have to withdraw, and you have to withdraw totally. You can't fake withdraw. You have to actually withdraw, and you have to withdraw in a way that doesn't seem like you're bothered, but it seems like you're disinterested. So what I mean by that is when you withdraw from men, you have to withdraw by just not speaking to them. Not blocking, listen, not by blocking them. Okay, that makes it seem like you're bothered. You withdraw by not texting anymore, not calling, not answering call, not nothing. But you keep them on the socials. You don't unfollow them. You don't block them. You don't remove them as nothing. You let them still see you living your life. You just act as if they never existed. When you withdraw like that, it's going to put the men that are interested in you, it's going to put them in a very desperate and anxious state. Because when you flip the script like that, some men that aren't interested in you, they'll just be like, whatever. Some men that are interested in you, even if they're just a little bit interested in you, but you've liked them more, they're going to be thrown out of. It's going to be very, very troubling to them when this happens, because you're going to trigger their insecurity that, why don't you like me? Why don't you want me? And so what's going to happen though is when you withdraw, it's actually going to work too well. And a lot of you are going to become very scared because he's going to start pulling all of the tricks out of his bag to get you back in the position of chasing after him. Because that anxious frustration that he feels is not comfortable. And he's going to start saying things and doing things to get you back in the good graces where you're the one chasing after him. The problem is when you guys hear everything that you want to hear from the guy and he starts talking how you've been wanting him to talk, you go back to chasing. And then he pulls away again. Right? You don't want that. You don't want that. Someone said, tell all the tricks. That's exactly what we do on the show. That's exactly what we do on the show all the time. Right? Does that make sense? Vivian says, how long you should not answer? I kind of talked about that in another show. So go on my YouTube and you can, I have some, maybe I'll make a whole show dedicated to how to withdraw properly, but I talk about that in a lot of my shows. Okay. So you got to go watch the other shows in order to get all of that detailed information. Okay. So that being said, those of you who are new here are in for a treat, but those of you who've been here know what time it is. You better spam it in the chat. What time is it? What time is it? Chat, tell the new people. There's a lot of new people in here. Tell the new people what time it is. It's Discord time. It's Discord time. It's Discord time. It's Discord time. Okay, those of you who are new here are in for a treat. You probably have no idea what Discord time is. You probably have no idea what this show is. You're probably very confused. That's good. Confusion is good. It's going to take you somewhere special. Okay, so Discord time is when we read out questions in my Discord. If you have a question for me, please just go into my TikTok bio, my bio on my page, and you can submit your question in the relationship advice section. If you are in the on the YouTube chat, you just go into the the pinned comment or at the bottom of the description if you're watching this afterwards, and you can ask your question there. Okay, so these are questions submitted by members of the Players Club. So Holly asked for advice. Okay, Holly says, "Hi Tomisin, I was in a situationship with someone for 3 years and was very happy. Dinner, music, deep, interesting conversations, and pineapples. I'm 53, he's 40. Okay, is that cougar? Because some of you guys were saying anything 10 years age gap, that's cougar. I don't know. Last summer, something shifted. He started spending more time with me. He was investing, staying the weekend, doing things together, and even started talking about living together." Okay. How many? This was 3 years. Okay. I thought he was maybe trying to level up in life with me because I make double his income and have a beautiful house, and he rents with housemates. How old is he? Again? He's he's 40 with housemates. Okay. I'm not going to shame. He was really trying to sell me on the idea of you being his housemate. I actually would have loved that, but I didn't really believe him. You'd have loved to be his housemate. I had never hinted at wanting more. Then a few months later in November, he sent me a message saying that he had a knee injury. I hope he doesn't ask you to pay for his surgery or something weird like that. I have not seen him since last November. Strange. He texted regularly to tell me how much he misses me, but the recovery time kept getting longer. Told me he hadn't been working and his life was a complete standstill. So I moved on. Good. Also, he hadn't been to work in the last 5 months. I did check that. How did you check that? So he messaged me a couple of days ago. "Hi, beautiful. How are you?" You should have been like, "How is your bank account?" That's what you need to be worried about before you message me. After 2 months of no communication because I no longer initiate, I was longer telling him I miss him. I have learned from you, Tomisin. Okay. Oh, sorry. You meant say I was no longer telling him I miss him. Okay, good. I was thinking I should ignore it and make him beg, but I was unsure if it was a legit injury. Should the same rules apply? After 24 hours, I replied, "How are you?" He replied, "I'm good. Back at the gym getting my strength back." I replied, "I'm so happy for you. That's amazing." He said, "I am a woman of few words," to which I replied, "Yes, sorry, I'm a terrible texter, much better in person." He said, "You text like me." I left it at that, on with my day. 3 hours later, he asked if I was free that day. You know what's I love hearing these things because it just proves to all of you amazing people that when you just sit back and do nothing, guys will do everything for you. And it's funny because I know a lot of people who may have gone anxious when a guy says you text like me and woman a few words, you might start thinking, okay, maybe I should be more interesting over text. But Holly has been listening to me clearly, and she's not trying to be more interesting over text. She just left it at that. And it's funny because you be thinking, oh, maybe I should remind him, hey, you should take me out on a date. That's how you should see me more. And maybe when I tell him that, that's when he'll realize that. No. All you have to do is do nothing, just like Holly did. And she left it at that. And lo and behold, 3 hours later, he's the one that asked if she was free to hang out that day. Not that she should say yes to that, but I'm just helping you get an understanding that guys they'll come up with the idea themselves. She said, I said I can't, I'm busy another time. Good. He's going to reach out again soon to try to see me. I don't know what to think, honestly. I'm over it, but would like him back. But if not, I'm being played. So am I being played? Okay, Holly, I like your question. What I want to say to this, though, is I'm not here to tell you how you should live your life or what your preferences should be. But I do have to be honest with you about the experiences I've had and knowing how relationships have gone. In my experience in knowing other people and seeing how relationships go, whenever a guy is in a situation where his girl is making double what he makes, and there's such a large, like, there's nothing wrong with there being a little bit of a gap between what you make and what he makes. But when there's such a large discrepancy between the incomes here, like, you guys are grown adults. So like, this is like your income now. Like, this is like, unless he does something drastic or makes a drastic change, like, this is how it's going to be for the rest of your relationship. So that being said, when there's a drastic gap in your careers like that and in your finances like that, I know you can probably support that because you make so much more than he does and it's not an issue for you. But what I find is that in a relationship like that, the man only grows to resent you because of the lack of masculinity he feels in the relationship, that he doesn't feel like he has as much resources as you. He doesn't have as much freedom as you. And the fact that, truthfully and honestly, if you make double what he does, he's really, as strange as this sounds, he's going to have to ask you to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, aside from being able to just barely take care of himself, he rents with his housemates. He's 40. Aside from being able to just barely take care of himself, he really can't do anything else with his money. He can't really go out on extravagant dates. He can't really take too many trips, probably. Anything that he would want to do outside of just barely taking care of himself, he would have to ask you for help on that. That is extremely emasculating. I know your intention is not to emasculate your man, but I do want you to understand how that process of continuously happening and that dynamic on an ongoing basis will start to make him feel as if he is less than a man. And he will grow to resent you even though you're not the one purposely trying to make him feel less than a man. He'll just resent you because of that dynamic. And the thing about it is, it's one thing if, let's say, you were making 10 million and he was only making 5 million. Still, he can support himself. He can still pay for things. He can do for you just as much as you can do for him. But there's a big difference between you making 10 million and he makes 5 million, and you make double what he does and you have your whole house, right? This discrepancy, and he's like barely able to support himself, barely. Like by the skin of his teeth, able to support himself. And some months if he rents with his housemates, he's probably living very close to paycheck to paycheck. And so this is not to shame him. Okay, we all have to grow and learn and adjust and get better. But if he's in a position like this, where, you know, his situation is this tight, it's not going to bode well for the rest of your relationship when things are only going to get bigger and more extravagant. When I say extravagant, I just mean like there's going to be even more burden. He's living like a college student right now at 40. And if you're going to be building a relationship, I don't know how you feel about having children at 53. But if you're capable of having children or open to the idea of having children or even adopting children, whatever it may be, right? Or even just combining your children. I don't know if you guys are at the age where you both have, maybe he does. How can he have children? Actually, I just realized that. How can he have children if he has housemates? But I don't know. My point being is that they're going to get more expensive when you guys combine your lives together. And they're going to get expensive for both of you because either you're going to have to start paying for you and him, or he's going to have to start dishing out at least some of his money to support both of you, to like help out at least. You know what I mean? Right. And either way, it's not a good dynamic. It's not a good place that you want to be in. So I honestly think for this situation, I don't want to say what you should or shouldn't prefer, but I just don't think for the position that you're in, Holly, because I do remember you sending in a previous message talking about you're in shape, you've got your life together, you got your career paths, your hobbies, your friends, and all that good stuff. I just don't think that you should be looking to be with a man who can barely support himself. I just don't think that is a sustainable situation for you. Okay, maybe for him, there's a lot of benefit because he gets to attach himself to someone who makes double the income. But for you, the only real benefit you're getting is the companionship and that you don't feel lonely. But in the end, in exchange for the companionship, you kind of have like a leech. I don't know. It just makes me, I can't cast any aspersions on him or his character, but it just makes me very uncomfortable when we're in a place like this where he can barely support himself. Housemates at 40 years old. And, he's trying to build a life with some, if you're, I just, how can he even take you? He can't even really take you out where nowhere nice to eat. He can't afford it. If he's living like this, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Everyone's different. I know some people are 50-50 people and are okay with going 50-50. Me personally, I'm okay with just paying for everything, but I understand not everyone would be like that. Okay. And some people might want to do the 50-50 thing, but this doesn't even sound like 50-50. This sounds more like you doing 80-20. Okay. So next we have here, let's see. We got Kisi. Okay, I like that name, Kisi. Kisi says, how to take my power back. Excuse me. I talked about this in a live show, but let's answer your question. Hi, Tomisin. Recently, I have been binge watching your videos, and I realized I did a bad job being a golden retriever to the guy that I liked. He strung me along for a long time. He has narcissistic tendencies. Of course, he isn't diagnosed, so I couldn't really tell that for sure. But given the way he dates people, his cheating pattern, and the way he never thinks he is accountable for his actions says a lot. I hope this is your ex. A guy you liked. Okay, so maybe you didn't even date this guy. Okay. However, I walked away without saying anything to him. I'm glad for you. Thank you. I just sort of disappeared. My only mistake was I didn't block him. After a few weeks of not responding to him anymore, he unfollowed me and blocked me. Perfectly fine. The trash took out itself. I feel that I have lost my power when he blocked me. No, Kisi. No, this is your ego playing tricks on you. Oh my God. I really don't like when you guys do this. This is your ego playing a trick on you because you want to be the one that walked away from the relationship and you feel hurt that he tried to make it seem like he was walking away from you. Now you feel the need to get your stuff off by getting the last word or saying the last thing, or sending him one long text to tell him how you feel and how he wasn't the person that you needed him to be and all. Don't do it. You're going to spiral and you're going to make yourself look like a fool. Okay? I hope that's not what you did. I was actually starting to feel better when I stopped talking to him, but then when he blocked me, it hurt a bit. You see? Your ego's hurt. I hope you... Oh, God. I know he did that to get a reaction out of me, but it sent me to a spiral. I told you this is I don't read these ahead of time, guys. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew it. I just knew it. I knew it. Once I hear that, you're bothered, he blocked you, I can tell. I can smell that you're itching. You're itching to get your stuff off, to just tell him off and send him one big long text or voice note about everything that, oh my God, never. It doesn't do anything. What is he supposed to say? I apologize? He won't. Sent me to a spiral. And since then, I've wanted to shackle my hands because I've been itching to text. I haven't read this ahead of time. I hope you guys know. I've been itching to text him and ask him why he blocked me. How do I get my power back in this situation? Clearly, I have lost. You haven't. At least that's how I feel. It's just a feeling and it's just your ego. Being blocked and it feels so bad. I have never chased him. Okay, so don't start now. Nor bombarded his phones with calls or texts. Good. Don't. I just simply stopped talking. I don't know why I deserve that block. It doesn't matter. Oh my God. Update. I know you're going to hate me. Kesey. But I just texted him and I can't do this. I can't do this with you guys. I can't do this with you guys today. I don't understand. I don't understand why you would do that. I don't understand why you would do that. I don't understand it. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? It probably only took me a couple of days to answer your question. What's today? Today is June what? Today's June 26th. You couldn't wait a couple of days for... Oh my God. I thought maybe you were going to say you held out and... Namaste. Okay. I texted him and asked him why he blocked me. It's just so tragic. It's so tragic. His response was, "Why do you still talk to me?" Are you happy, Kesey? Did you get the answer that you wanted to get? And I said, I didn't stop talking to you. What are you doing? What are you doing? No. Like, what are you actually doing? What's the purpose of this? What do you mean you didn't stop talking to him, as if like you're actually open to the idea of like seeing it? What are you doing? No. Like, actually, what are you doing? Okay. Sorry, you said, didn't I stop talking to you? What's the point, though? I just don't get it. He then said, okay, so why does it matter if I blocked you or not? He's actually so correct. It's actually he's so correct, it's painful. Why does it matter if you stop talking to him? He called you an idiot to your face, and you're actually looking like an idiot. Because if you don't care, then why does any of this matter? Why do you care if you don't care? What do you want from me? He said. He's actually making you look like an idiot. You see why I say don't do this? Because you'll look like an idiot. Not to shame you and not to put you down, Kesey, but I need you to see the error in your ways. This looks very bad. You thought you lost power before, you actually lost your power now. You look very foolish. And I told him that. I was just surprised and never expected that you would do such an emotional reaction. What is the purpose of anything here? Then proceeded to block him on everything. I guess my ego is hurt and his audacity that I should have done the blocking, not him. Kesey, never do that again. Never, ever do that again. Focus your time and energy on the people that you actually want to be in your life. As soon as you identify that a guy is not the guy you want to be in your life, cut him out of your life and never look back. Okay? I'm at least, I don't know how weak you are, because I hope I don't get a message in the next week from now saying, so I unblocked him. I better not get a message from you a week from now starting with, so I unblocked him. Because this doesn't sound like you're really finished with this situation. Sounds like you still have some stuff you want to get off. I need you to let go of your desire to just get it off and to say one last word and to really stick it to him and show him how bad it was that he treated. No. Just let it flow through you and be like, you're not the person I was looking for. I don't have time to acknowledge you or think about you or put any brain or thought power into you. My only focus is on the guys who are prepared to be the guy that I need in my life. That's all you're focused on. Okay? Because remember, this isn't about a guy. Listen, your approach and your relationships will look very differently based on your mind frame. When you walk into a relationship and you're thinking to yourself, I'm here because I'm here to judge whether or not you're the person that I'm looking for, you'll approach relationships very different than when you're going into the relationship thinking to yourself, I hope I can be the one that you want to be with. Because when you're thinking like, I hope I can be the one that you want to be with, you're going to be try to be very likable. You're going to be try to be very agreeable. You're going to try to be nice and pleasant and easygoing. And in the end, he's just going to utilize you and ignore you and not pay attention to you. And you're going to be doing desperation acts like this. So Kisi, you need to change your mind frame from do you like me or not to do I like you or not? And if I don't, get out of my sight. That should be your approach to every relationship from now on. And I hope your next message does not start with, so I unblocked him. It better not. Okay. Next we have here, let's see. Okay, next we have here BBL Drizzy. Okay, this is, wow. Let's buckle up. Let me take some water for this. Okay. Beck says BBL Drizzy. I have no idea where this is going. Okay. Hi. So my main problem while dating is always being pineappleized. I am curvy and top and bottom heavy. How can you be top and bottom heavy? That just sounds funny. Then okay. I dress modest. I love a crew neck and a maxi skirt. That's the one that's like really tight, right, guys? Like that's like it's like skin tight. The maxi skirt, right? However, it seems like I'm only ever approached by men who call me pineapple-y. I can't say that word. Or along those lines, right? I usually just don't respond to men like this, but I'm wondering if there is something else I could do to avoid receiving these type of messages. Someone said it's just a long skirt. Oh, it's long. Is it tight? Is the maxi one tight? Or is it is it like looser? Would you be able to see a dump truck in the maxi skirt? Let's see here. Like this, but I'm wondering if there's something else I could do to avoid receiving these kind of messages and how I can reach men who actually want something more than just pineapples. Do I fish through the bad ones till a good one comes along? And no, I've never had surgical enhancement. So you basically just had to say, I have voluptuous yitties and a massive dump truck, but it's all natural and all the guys love me. Okay. That's pretty funny flex. Someone said it's long doesn't mean tight. Fitted. Okay. So we'll say it's fitted, right? Depends on the material. Okay. So I just wanted to get an understanding, cause she said crew neck. So you're busty. Bex is busty. So here's the thing. If you're busty, right, and you're thicker than a bowl of oatmeal here, the reality of it is, regardless of what you wear, you're gonna be busty. Okay, like it's not the women who are like busty, even if you wear something that's only slightly, accentuating your curves because you're so curvy, people are gonna notice the curves. Okay, your bustiness is gonna be busty regardless. And so that's not really something, of course, if you're wearing something super tight, it's going to be even more accentuated, but it's not like you can really hide it. Unless you wear a garbage bag, you're not going to be able to hide your dump truck if it's that big and your voluptuous yitties if they're that voluptuous, okay? So let's just be for real on that. You're not going to be able to hide it. So guys not approaching you because they can't see that is not really a realistic solution to your problem. You have to accept the fact that, yes, guys are going to approach you because of how voluptuous your yitties are and how massive your dump truck is. However, that does not necessarily mean that every guy who approaches you is only interested in that, right? And even if they're initially interested in that, that doesn't mean that they're only willing to get to know you if they have access to pineapples. So if you know, for you specifically, Bex, if you know that a lot of guys are going to approach you because of how busty and voluptuous you are, then you should be hyper aware that you do not want to be giving them any sort of pineapple-y access to you where they can be satisfied in that way without you actually knowing if they're there for real or not. So my advice to you is when guys approach you, because I'm sure a lot of guys are going to approach you and tell you all these stories about how they want to make you their wife, tell you all these stories about how they'd love to put a baby in you. That's really just dirty talk. It's not that they actually like you that much. But I say that to say, let them talk, but then also do nothing and see which ones are going to try to show you that through their actions. And leave those men to really basically fend for themselves and see who's going to fight for their right to have access to you, and literally give them absolutely nothing. So for you, Bex, for someone who's this voluptuous and this, busty, and you got all this going on, I would even say on these first dates with these guys, don't even kiss them. Give them nothing pineapple-y or in the pineapple realm that they would even have their mind on that. And then see which men are willing to stick around when that is not even a possibility or even seems like it's something that could happen in the near future. For someone like you that is very pineappleized, don't talk about it, don't discuss it, don't mention it, don't kiss guys, don't do anything with your hands, feet, or mouth, nothing. Okay? Nothing. That way, you ensure that the guys who are spending their time with you and around you are getting nothing from you. And the only way they can continuously be there on a consistent basis is if they plan on building something with you, not if they have hope of actually getting with you. And then you can judge by a man's consistency or lack of consistency if he's really serious about the relationship or not. That's my best advice to you. Okay, BBL Drizzy. BBL Backs. That was funny. Next we have here, let's see. Annalena, okay? Okay, let's see Annalena's. So Annalena's is titled Friend Zone. Annalena says, I have a friend with whom we used to hang out. We used to hang out. Who is we? You and your man? Okay. Sometimes went to a pub, like you and this friend. Okay. We went to a pub, often texted, got to know each other, but at the same time, I didn't have any feelings for him. Okay. Later, I started feeling comfortable with him and thought we would be a great couple. How did that transition like that? However, we had a conversation about it and he initiated it. What do you mean he initiated it? At first, he asked how I perceived him, and I said he was handsome and a smart guy. He replied that he felt the same about me. Later, he referred to us as friends. How much later are we talking? In the same conversation? And I said, we are strange friends. He guessed that I perceived him slightly differently and answered a little bit. He answered a little bit. Like we're a little bit strange friends. What? After he told me that, he considers me a friend and doesn't feel enough connection. But wait, what? What just happened? So this is happening over text. You said he replied. Why? Okay. Why would you have a conversation as serious as this over text? Annalena. If like this is actually like how you felt. You're never really going to get an understanding of how someone really feels when you do have serious conversations over text. I don't get it. I don't get why you would do it. So you go on to say, he guessed that I perceived him slightly differently. Later, he told me he considers me a friend and doesn't feel enough connection between us. So there you go. He said all he needs to say. Even though we talk every day and he often says I'm interesting. Did you not hear what he said before? He doesn't feel the connection. So point blank period. Now you're done pursuing. Done it. Back off. I replied that I understand. Did you really though? Let's see. Later, he called me bro. Okay, so now he's pouring it on thick here. I hope you don't embarrass yourself. And I asked him to not call me that. Okay, so now you look bothered. Okay, you're losing a whole lot of power here. He told me I'm beautiful So he's just playing with you. Great. He told me I'm beautiful and interesting, and he wants to continue being friends because he's currently going through a depressive period after breaking up with his wife. So, what purpose do you think you serve in his life then? Annalena? What purpose do you think you serve in his life if you're telling him how much you want to be with him? He's telling you he just wants to be friends, but he's telling you he likes having you around because he's going through a depressive period after breaking up with his wife. You are an ego booster. You're not even a rebound because he doesn't want you actually. He just wants you to make him feel confident in himself again so that he can take that confidence and go give it to another girl. That's exactly what is happening. Okay? Let's go on. Let's continue. And wants to have fun with other girls. Look. I tell you guys all the time, I do not read these ahead of time. So when I say this and then the next sentence is exactly that, it's not an accident. Okay? It's because this is actually what happens with guys. I actually know how they think. I'm not just talking out of my butt. Okay? He's literally telling you, I'm going through a really deep, dark, depressing state. I want you to build my confidence up so I can go have fun with other girls. He's literally telling you that. Literally telling you that. The question is, why did it happen this way? And why didn't he feel the same as I did? What do you mean? Not everyone is going to feel like you as much as you like them. Did I make this all up in my head? And how to build this connection, and is it possible to change from status of friend to something more? Like, does this spark does this spark that he talks about come straight away, or is it later? And why does he even want want to be my friend? I think for this guy, it's more interesting to hang out in a male friend group of friends. Okay, thank you for your message, Annalena. I know you're confused, and I can see where your confusion comes from. Let me answer this question here directly. Why he wants you to be his friend? Because you serve as an ego booster, like I said earlier. You are the person that will tell him how amazing he is and how much you want to be with him, that he will feel like someone wants to be with him because he just got out of a situation where after divorcing his wife, he felt like she didn't want to be with him. Think about it. Let's go back here. What did he ask of you? He asked you how you perceived him. And then you went on to say, you're a handsome and smart guy. So what do you think that does for his ego? Oh, you think I'm handsome and smart? You think I'm so much more handsome and smart than my ex-wife ever thought I was? So you're basically saying if you were my wife, you would stay with me and be with me, right? Oh yeah, I am that guy, right? You're building him back up so that he can take that confidence that you give him and he can go date other girls with that newfound confidence that you're giving to him. That's why he wants to be your friend. Okay? It's plain and simple. And even before he knew that you were interested in him, you still serve the purpose of being a placeholder of someone he can spend time with, that he doesn't actively have to be thinking about how depressing it is to be divorced from his ex-wife. And now it's even better for him because anytime he wants that hit of confidence, that dopamine, that feeling of I'm important, that I matter, that someone cares about me, he just calls you up or he texts you and he basically says, how interesting am I? How important do you think I am? How much do you want to be with me? How much do you like me? And he just gets you to validate him over and over again. And every time he'll do that, he'll sneak something in like this. He'll tell you you're beautiful and interesting to try to stimulate you giving him a bunch of compliments. Guys like validation too. So he knows if he tells you something like this and gives you a little bit of hope that maybe he's interested in you, you'll tell him all the ways that you want him and would love to be in a relationship with him. And then he'll be like, oh, tell me again how you want to be with me. Tell me how badly you want me. Am I not the most amazing guy you've ever met? Good night. And you're literally validating him. Just like that. He's getting off on your validation. And you don't realize it because you think every time you're validating him that you're just showing him how badly you want to be with him, and you're letting it be known by communicating what you feel. But the validation is only serving as a way to boost his ego, that he's going to take that and give that to someone else. So in terms of how you can change this around, I think your answer is, as painful as this sounds, is to literally end this friendship and let him decide, does he care enough about you to actually make this more than a friendship, or does he not care that much that he doesn't want to have you around? And see, here's the thing. He might come back and beg for you back just because he wants your company. But you need to be clear that if he's coming back, it's to build a relationship with you, not just to have you continuously be around so that you can make him feel good while he gets over his ex-wife. And so I think even the fact that he's telling you he's in a depressive state right now is telling you that he's not even prepared to be dating right now. He's basically telling you, I just want you to be a placeholder right now. So you should essentially take your energy away until he's actually ready to be dating and actually ready to consider people and see you as a romantic partner. Until then, there's no need for this friendship whatsoever. You'll just be wasting your time being in limbo. Next we have here, let's see who we got. We got Jay. Jay's got a coworker crush. Okay, let's see what Jay has to say. Okay, Jay says, coworker crush. Hi, I'm a 35-year-old female. I just started a new job a couple of months in. A couple of weeks into being there, I noticed a fellow coworker in a different department. Okay. He's a man that has liked me a few times on Hinge. Interesting. Hinge, not good. Okay, but interesting that you've already liked him. He's already liked you. The first, I think I ghosted him. Oh, so you guys actually spoke on Hinge. And the second, I think I just ignored him. How did you match with him multiple times? Okay. In person, he is much better looking, and now I've developed a bit of a crush on him. That's why it would have been just better to just meet him in person in the first place. That's why I hate dating apps. We live in a major city inside and outside. We live in a major city, and inside and outside our paths have crossed a bunch of times since starting my new job. However, we never really talked. Finally, a couple of weeks ago, I went into the break room at work and he was there alone. He spilled his coffee. Yeah, he spilled his coffee. When I went in, I don't know if that's relevant. Let's go on. And he made small talk about the weather, told me I look familiar, and we introduced ourselves. He probably spilled his coffee because he was shocked that it was you. Usually I'm super talkative, but I got so nervous that I could feel my cheeks shaking. Oh my God. Your Squirtle's shaking too, right? So I kind of cut the conversation short. Oh, you're such a wimp. I plan to just play it cool and look hot and be at work and sit where he sits and make long eye contact to give him the hint. I mean, okay. Although my brother says that's not direct enough. I've seen him on Hinge several times since, but resist the urge to like it. Do not. Jay, do not interact with him on Hinge or Instagram or any social media. You have now officially met this man in real life. This is part of the addiction that I need to literally slap out of you guys. You literally met this man in person. You were alone with him in the break room. That's how a lot of pineapple videos start off. Okay, it's great. Great for you to build something off of. Funny story, he spilled his coffee. You're so nervous, your cheeks are quivering, your mouth is shaking, you're like a nervous breakdown. Instead of thinking about how you can portray some confidence and, seductiveness in person and make him desire you like the real you more, you're on Hinge again, thinking about what you could get itching to see what you can message him over Hinge. I need to slap this addiction out of you guys. It is an addiction. Stop it. Stop it. I'm so serious. I know I'm really passionate, but I'm so serious. Stop doing this. It is hurting your relationships, and it's hurting your ability to be desirable to men. Because you can have this man on his hands and knees if you keep playing the seductive game in person, not over message. Stop that. You know this guy in real life. Stop that, please. Please. Because if you're not yet confident enough in yourself to be able to like carry yourself in a hot, seductive way that's attractive, that will get men interested in you on the spot or like when they're seeing you, and you don't have that energy to be magnetic and draw men in, you know, in real life, you need to be working on that first before don't even pick up the phone. Because if you don't have that seductive, desirable energy, then even if you were to go out on a date, you're going to be uninteresting to him anyways. You don't even really know how to flirt. This is not to diss you, Jay, and I know I'm very passionate, but I just need you to understand your focus is in the wrong place. And I can tell that you sent this message because you're itching. You're itching. And I know when you're itching like this, as time is going on, if you're not speaking to him, you're going to start saying, well, maybe if I just send one message so he sees that I'm on the same Hinge app as him. Maybe if I just follow him on Instagram and he sees that I followed him on Instagram, then he'll know that, you know, maybe we have some sort of, no, don't do that. Focus on trying to get your cheeks and mouth to not quiver when you're standing in front of him, that you can portray some sort of confidence and seductiveness that he can be like, damn, I kind of like her. I find her interesting. You know, she's got that energy. She's attractive to me. He's not going to feel that over message, not over Hinge, not over Instagram, not over nothing over the phone. Okay? Like you've met the guy in real life and you're itching now to like him on, oh God. Oh my God. Don't do this. Don't do this, please. Okay? Because I don't want to make it awkward with work, and I also I feel it's a bit juvenile since we're in each other's presence at work. How is that? How have we come to a place in the world where it's juvenile to be in each other's presence at work, but it's not juvenile to hide behind a screen and message them? I'm not rolling. Okay. You can make this it's actually the most interesting this way, because every day you're seeing each other. You can see each other in the break room. You can come across each other in different parts of the workplace. You have so many opportunities to be fun, flirty, interesting, and walk away and be seductive without doing too much. And all you can think about is how you can message him. Not to poo-poo you, Jay, but like I really want you to see where you're going wrong here. But I also feel bad for coming off as rude when we talked in the break room. No, you came off as like you were having a nervous breakdown instead of confident and seductive. But hopefully it didn't come off that way. Thoughts? Well, obviously I don't know everything that you did there, but you're not coming off in a way that's going to be seductive to him and desirable to him. And so messaging him is not going to do anything for your desirability. It's actually going to make it even worse. In fact, if I were you, I would actually be purposely trying to block him on Hinge and get rid of any evidence that you are the girl who liked him on Hinge. That way he doesn't think that he saw you on Hinge before or anything like that. Leave no traces of you on Hinge with him and around him. That way he can be thinking to himself, oh, I met this girl at work and she's so seductive and amazing. I need to get to know more about her. That way you don't even tempt him with the ability to message you either. Because what happens is if he doesn't have the opportunity or ability to message you either, what's going to happen? He's going to be forced to come up to you in real life. So don't even cut out literally squeeze the life out of his opportunity to contact you anywhere else except for going up to you at work, having a conversation with you, and asking you out on a date in person. Because that takes the most initiative, that takes the most desire, that takes the most like actual effort. And you're in a very good place if he's putting in that amount of effort. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I know I get very passionate, guys, but this is the type of stuff that grinds my gears. You met him in real life, and then you're thinking of immediately about, after meeting him in real life, how you can message him on the phone. And you think that's going to help? You think that's going to help your desirability? It's not. Okay? I say this because I love you guys. Kari B says, pulled away suddenly. Okay, let's see what Kari B asks. Kari B says, after 3 months of fun, expensive dates, giving me gifts, a birthday weekend, and late night calls, we had pineapples. Okay, I mean, 3 months. Okay. We became exclusive. About a week later, he revealed that he visited his ex-girlfriend, who he has known a long time. This is part of the things that I tell you guys you should be getting a very clear understanding of before you make a commitment to someone by giving them your mind, body, and soul. Because things like this will happen where I'm sure the dates were good. I'm sure the expensive dates and the expensive gifts were great. Weekend nights and all that stuff were great. But you don't want to let all of that time be filled with him just telling you how great and amazing you are and how much he likes you. That might fill your ego and make you feel good, but that doesn't actually serve you in terms of understanding if this is someone you should be giving your mind, body, and soul to. The type of questions you should be asking and be prepared to ask and understand is knowing, I always tell you guys, one of the first things you should be knowing, what happened in his last relationship? Why did it end? How did he contribute to that? And where do they stand now? Because if you're trying to build a relationship with someone who's emotionally unavailable or attached to someone else still, you're wasting all of your time. Okay? No matter what he says to you. This is a perfect example of that. He visited his ex-girlfriend who he has known a long time, irrelevant how long he's known her. Okay? And was close to her as a kid, irrelevant. It's still his ex. He says nothing physical happened. Oh, yeah, I mean, cool. Nothing physical happened when you spent alone time with your ex-girlfriend. I can trust that. Then he pulled away. Oh, magic. Huh. What a coincidence. What a coinky-dink. Nothing happened between him and his ex-girlfriend, but magically, after he's seen her, no more expensive dates, no more gifts, no more birthday weekends, and no more late night calls. It's been a week. I want him back. Oh, do you now? There's been no contact. How can I get him to return? Also, do I remove him on social media? I'm very sad. Carrie B, I'm going to help you come to a very painful reality. The reality of it is he's still attached and has feelings to his ex. So the answer to your question is, how can you get him to return? You can't. Until he's actually over his last situation, that is the only way you'll even get a man who can be emotionally invested in you truly. Because even if he returns to you now in the state that he's in, if his ex does return or in some magical scenario says, I want to be with you, he will immediately abandon you and leave you in the dust and go be with her. It seems like right now he is very conflicted about what he wants at the very least. And at the very worst, he really wants to be with her, and he's doing everything he can to convince her to get back in a relationship with him. It's one of those two. Either way, this man is not emotionally available. He still belongs to his ex. So anytime you spend here trying to build a relationship with him and he's not over his ex is a waste of your time. And as of right now, he's still attached to her. So don't you dare contact him unless he reaches out to you begging to be with you again. Don't you dare contact him. Okay? I would advise you to, as for right now, don't do anything. Don't unfollow him. Don't block him. Don't do anything to stimulate anything. Just leave it as it is. If a month goes by and he doesn't respond to you, then you can just unfollow him. You don't even have to bother blocking him. Just unfollow him. But when you unfollow him, do not acknowledge anything he says to you after that. Okay? It's only been a week now, so let's see how things go. But don't unfollow him. Don't text him. Don't message him. Don't like his pictures. Mute him on everything. Don't watch his stories, nothing. If more than, 2, 3 weeks, a month goes by, unfollow him and never speak to him again, even if he reaches out to you. Okay? So that was the show for today. I hope you guys got some value out of that. We had some crazy ones today. If I did not answer your question, don't fret. I will be back again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time and answer your question there on the Discord section of the show. If you want to follow me on Instagram because you love me so much, you want to see everything I've been doing since the beginning of time, you can hop on my Instagram. It's right above my head on the left side of the screen if you're on TikTok, and on the bottom right if you're on YouTube, okay? And you can get access to my Instagram that way. If you missed part of the show, you came early or you left early or you came late, you can always access all of the show on my YouTube page. For those of you on TikTok, it's right above my head on the right side of the screen. You just have to type out my name in the YouTube, or you can just copy and paste my name or type out my name in the YouTube search, and you'll find my page. Go in the live section. You'll be able to watch this entire live stream along with all the other live streams that I've done. And you'll be able to see the YouTube and TikTok chat embedded in the live stream, which will make it really awesome. All right. So it's a really great experience that way. You'll be able to see all the conversation. Okay. So I am here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to catch me right on time, I'll be back again at that time. Sometimes I'm a little bit late. Don't hate me. Okay. Until then, goodbye. Hasta la vista. Arrivederci. Au revoir. I will see you again later, where we'll talk about love, life, and relationships. And I love you so much until then. Okay. Bye for now.